I love birds. They are cute, smart, and oh so gorgeous to look at. A few months ago, I got an idea when I saw Iron Bundle, and I thought to myself, is that a bird? Is it a mech? Who the heck knows? But my thought was that it could not be flying type. I noticed that mons like Doduo and Doduo are based on literal flightless birds, but are for some reason still flying type. Then I looked up a bird Pokemon, and what did I find? I'll let you know shortly, but first I have hidden 3 Master Balls somewhere in the video, and if you find them, you're hecking awesome. Mostly known as the typing of the glorious Missing No. The bird type did in fact exist in the original games, however, it was never meant to actually be available, and it has no weaknesses, no resistances, and no immunities. In this video, I would like to explore how things might have been different had the type been properly introduced to the games. But within the context of Pokebirds, what exactly is a bird? Well, in real life, a bird is defined as possessing feathers, wings, a beak, and often being able to fly. To clarify right off the bat, something being able to fly does not make it a bird, and not all birds are able to fly. There is a difference. Also, if you watch until near the end of the video, I have a very nice custom Pokemon that is sure to make you want to become a bird-type gym leader yourself. To start off, let's go with type effectiveness. So birds will do 2 times damage to bug types, because birds are the natural predator of most insects, so it goes without saying that they would deal more damage to them. They do more damage to grass, because many birds eat grass seeds, and as a natural predator, it makes sense that they would do extra damage. They do double damage to fairy, because a lot of fairies are depicted with insect-like fairy wings. Putting them in the same boat as bugs, also we need to take fairy down a notch. And the last thing we do double damage to is water, because a solid amount of birds are natural predators of fish. Watch out for the upcoming fish video. Okay, so what is the bird type resisted by? Well, steel, obviously, even though it's already too strong, but a bird pecking steel will at most dent it a bit. So it has to make sense. And just because I had to add another thing that makes the bird weaker, birds will do half damage to ice. And ice really needs a little bit of a boost, so it would just double dipping. Most birds are not resistant to the cold, so approaching something that is made of ice will make them unable to properly fight. That's my reasoning at least. It's more or less the same reasoning with fire. A bird does not want to approach flames, for they will burn and additionally lose their feathers and their ability to fly along with them. Now what should do double damage to birds? Well, I'm gonna go with ice again, although that's probably a little bit overkill. However, most birds are extra sensitive to hypothermia, which makes sense considering they are just advanced reptiles, so naturally they will take more damage from ice-based attacks. Fire as well, as all birds possess feathers, being hit by fire would burn them off, rendering the bird defenseless. Water too, despite birds being effective against water, they will also be weak to water, because a lot of birds will find themselves heavy and unable to fly if they get wet enough. Rock. Throwing a rock at a bird will probably kill it. Steel. Violently bashing a bird with a steel beam will likely kill it. Birds do not have any resistances, but I did give them 2 immunities. And this is mostly focusing on getting fairy down because it's so prominent. It's immune to bug and fairy because any insect-like being cannot even hope to damage a bird. Next, let's get into which Pokemon would actually receive the bird type. I will be going in Pokédex order. The Pidgey line is flying bird all the way through because they are birds and they fly. The Sparrow line is also flying bird for similar reasons. The Psyduck line starts off as a water bird, but then upon evolving, Golduck finally gets its psychic typing, along with the bird typing. Farfetch is just a bird, with a leek. I debated bird grass, but felt like leek wasn't quite enough to justify it. Doduo and Dodrio are ground bird because they can't fly, but are still birds. They would of course get access to more ground type moves, but I like the idea. Articuno is ice bird, for obvious reasons. Zapdos is electric bird for similarly obvious reasons. Moltres is fire bird because, well, you guessed it, obvious reasons. Hoothoot starts off as a flying bird but trades the flying type for psychic upon evolving into Noctowl. Natu starts off as flying bird and becomes a psychic bird as Satu. Murkrow is a dark bird. Thunderbird is a penguin. Penguins cannot hecking fly. Why is it a flying type? Let's fix that. The adorable Santa penguin is now an ice bird type. Much better. Skarmory is a steel bird. Let's just make Lugia water psychic to fix a mistake while we're at it. Ho-Oh is a fire bird. The Torchic line is a fire bird until it reaches Blaziken, where it, funny enough, stops being a bird and starts punching things. The Taillow line is flying bird. Wingull line are water birds. Swablu is a flying bird but becomes a dragon bird as Altaria. We could also argue Fairy Bird. The Piplup line is a water bird until Empoleon decides to be a steel water type. The Starly line is a normal bird all the way through. Yeah, I know they fly, but I feel like they fly less than most. Hunchcrow is still a dark bird, just like Murkrow. Chatot is a bird. It's a parrot, a literal bird. Pidove is just a bird, but upon evolving, becomes a normal bird. Ooh. Arcan and Archeops are rock birds. Ducklet and Swan are water birds. Rufflet is a bird, but then becomes a bird that fights as Braviary. Vullaby is a bird, but then becomes a bird that darks as Mandibus. Fletchling is a bird, Fletchinder is a bird, Talonflame is a bird, but on fire. Hawlucha is a fighting bird. Yveltal is a very, very dark bird. The Rowlet line are all grass birds. The Piggypeck line is just bird type all the way through. Oricorio is a fire bird in its Bailey form, an electric bird in its Pom-Pom form, a psychic bird in its Pau form, and a ghost bird in its Sensor form. Rookidee is a bird, Corvisquire and Corviknight are steel birds. Cramorant is a water bird, Surfetch is a fighting bird. Askew is the iciest of birds. The Quoxie line are all water birds. Squawkabilly is just a bird, and it's not a well-designed one at it. Wattrel is a normal bird, but Killer Wattrel is an electric bird. Ispathra is a psychic bird. Bombardier is a dark bird. Flamigo is a fighting bird. And lastly, Iron Bundle is an icy bird. Or icy steel. Or bird steel? I mean, it's like a bird mech. With ice powers, I guess it's the best contender next to Flygon for a triple type. I prefer Ice Bird myself. So with that out of the way, let's talk about bird type moves, since a type needs moves associated with them. We're going to be changing a few moves first, because all these moves used to be flying type, but they're all changed to bird type now. Surprise. Brave Bird, do I need to explain? It has bird in its name! Drill Peck and Peck, can Landorus Peck? Nah, only birds do that. Pluck, again, that's a bird thing. Roost, only birds roost, I think. Feather Dance, only birds have feathers. Wing Attack, all birds have wings, no matter how useless they may be. I'm looking at you, penguins. Now on to the new moves. We have Sharpen Beak, literally Dragon Dance. The idea is that sharpening a means of physical attack will increase physical attack, but in the process of sharpening, part of the beak is actually removed. So technically speaking, the Pokemon will weigh less, making it faster. Preen Feathers, the act of cleaning their feathers. This one might be a bit on the strong side, but removing unnecessary dirt and such from the feathers will improve the bird's defensive capabilities, while also removing weight, making it faster by technicality. Dive Bomb, literally bird type close combat. 120 base power, physical, reduces each defense stat by 1 stage. Gleaning, 60 power, double damage to bugs. Gleaning is a specific feeding strategy used by birds against real-life bugs, in which they essentially pluck bugs from crevices and other hiding spots. This attack has 60 power, but the power doubles against bird type and fairy types. Anting. By wrapping insects, usually ants, on their feathers and skin, receiving various chemicals that can protect the bird from bacteria, fungi, mites, and more, the effect of the move in-game would be that it has +1 priority and makes the bird immune for 1 turn, just like Protect, but in addition to that, it is immune to non-volatile status effects for the next turn. Migration. This one is really heavy, but birds do migrate a lot, and to various places. I wanted it to be a move that switches the bird with another team member, but I wanted it to have an added effect based on weather, which was really hard to balance. But I think I found a way. In clear weather, migration will heal for 25%, then swap, then heal the ally for 25%. In the sun, it heals for 50%, then swaps. In hail, it swaps, then heals the ally for 50%. This one has 1 less priority. In rain, the effect cannot be used for balancing issues unless the bird is also a water type, in which case it has the same effect as in the sun. In sand, nothing happens unless the bird is also a rock, steel, or ground type, in which case it has the same effect as in the sun again. Again, the moves might be a bit over the top, but anyway, I promise you a new Pokemon, and now is the time. Venavia! The poison bird type Venavia from Venom and Avian is truly a force to be reckoned with. Its stat line is 95 health, 110 attack, 130 defense, 60 special attack, 80 special defense, and 105 speed, for a total of 580. Relevant poison moves are Acid Armor, Toxic Spikes, Cross Poison, and its own signature move, Venom Tail, which is a physical damaging move with 50 power that always badly poisons the target unless it's immune to toxic. Relevant bird moves are Brave Bird, Roost, Preen Feathers, and Anting. For coverage, it has access to Acrobatics, which is still flying, Steel Wing, Aqua Tail, and Esper Wing. Its abilities are Pressure, which will make the opponent spend 2 PP instead of 1 every time they use a move. This is because it's a legendary. It's a low-end legendary like the Sky Trio, stuff like that. However, its hidden abilities are Liquid Ooze, which when Vinavia is the target of any health absorption effect, it will instead damage the enemy by that amount. Also, another hidden ability, Big Pecs, will make the opponent unable to lower Vinavia's defense stat. This works in particular well with Vinavia because it has a high defense and it knows acid armor. It would be possible to make Vinavia a physical wall with either leftovers or Rocky Helmet. You could also go for the Soul Bed set to remove its slight weakness to special attacks. Or of course, since it has decent coverage, Life Orb or Choice items could also be the way to go. What do you think of Vinavia? Please tell me in the comments below. Now, if I was a bird type trainer, I believe I would be using Pidgeot because it's the OG bird and I've always been a fan of the line. Also, of course, it's Mega Pidgeot, right? But like, why did they remove Mega Evolution? My second Pokemon would be Skarmory. Steel is a great type and Skarmory is a defensive monster. Archon, great rock type. If you ignore its ability, it's actually pretty good. Talonflame, cool bird, go brrr. Ice-Q, I love penguins so much and Ice-Q is outright adorable. And Vinavia, of course. Despite being a legendary, obviously our new creation must be my ace, right? My team is a bit heavy on the physical side, but hey, sometimes you gotta go with what you like, not with what's best. Now, how would bird type impact the games and the competitive aspect? I am a great enjoyer of competitive Pokemon and indulge my desires frequently on Pokemon Showdown, so I figured it would make sense to give my thoughts on the competitive changes that bird type would bring. Well, first off, sadly, Bug would become even worse than it already is. It kinda sucks and I'm sorry, but you can't really make a bird type not strong against bugs. Grass will end up at a slight disadvantage. I'm sure it will survive, but it's going to be a little bit weaker than the average. Fairy will finally be taken down a notch after its extreme competitive dominance. It will still be really strong though. Water will be put down a few notches to put it exactly where a type should be, because water is already like slightly above average. Steel will be slightly stronger, and that sucks because it really shouldn't be, but it won't see big change since it's already so powerful. Ice-type Pokemon will likely see a bit more play now that there's one more type that they actually resist. Fire will remain largely the same, hitting one more time for a bit more damage is not going to change much. Rock might barely reach a spot where it can sit comfortably instead of always cowering in fear of almost everything. With the addition of the move Migration, we might see weather teams come even more into play than before. Sharpened Beak, allowing for more fast physical sweepers, may also have us see more physical walls in response. But yeah, that was my video on what the bird time would be like. Did you find the Master Balls? All 3? Did you really? Let me know in the comments. I personally feel like it could be easily justified considering how many birds there are in the game, and how many non-bird flying types there are. Both can live in harmony. It took a lot of time and hard work to make this video, and I hope you enjoyed it enough to hit that like button. And if you hit subscribe, you're showing me that you want more content exactly like this. I hope you have a lovely day. Farewell!